There is so much emotional eating going on right now, and it makes perfect sense because stress, fear, boredom, a lot of negativity is out there right now. I've been dealing with it myself for many years, and I've learned ways to deal with it and figure out where it comes from, what emotions I'm feeling when it gets triggered, and just give you the tools that I've learned on my journey and just hopefully be able to help someone out there. For many years, when I was feeling some sort of negative emotion, I would comfort myself by eating that 6th cookie in the same night. And I decided at one point that I no longer wanted to be a victim of emotional eating. It was making me feel miserable, and I would feel that comfort in the moment, and then after eating I would feel even more rubbish than I did before. And in this video I want to share with you everything that I've learned and hopefully be able to give you some tools on what you can do to get out of this habit and actually deal with the emotions instead of just trying to comfort it with food. When we emotionally eat or binge eat, it's often tied to stressful emotions, anxiety, or feeling bored, feeling fearful. And the cool thing about this situation is that you're stuck at home, so you have the time right now to deal with this and get over it and solve it for good, so that you never ever have to deal with it again. And that's what I want for you. So next time you feel like reaching for that second bag of chips and you've already downed 1 or 2 or 3, I want you to pause and sit still and ask yourself, what emotion am I feeling right now? And maybe that's fear. If that's fear, ask yourself what you're fearful of. Then you figure out what the thing is that you're fearful of. Maybe that could be a financial situation, or scared of losing your job, scared of what's gonna happen, uncertainty. It can be a bunch of things. When I'm dealing with fear, I write down a list of what is the worst case scenario that can happen. Once I've written that out, it helps me know, okay, this is the worst possible scenario. So I've taken it from my brain onto a piece of paper. That feels good to just let that out. The next thing that I do is I write down, okay, if this actually ends up happening, what is my plan gonna be? What can I do to solve this? And me figuring out a plan to solve the worst case scenario releases the fear and makes me feel better, because I have a plan that if the worst possible thing happens, I know what to do. And that releases fear, and it makes me feel like I'm a little bit more in control. There's not as much uncertainty. So that's just one example if it's fear that you're dealing with. It can be a bunch of things. So the most important thing is that you ask yourself, what am I feeling in this moment? And the next thing, why am I feeling this? And the next thing, how can I help myself? What can I do to make myself feel better? And if it has to do with something negative that you're worrying about, write it down on paper and write down what you can do if that thing happens. So don't punish yourself for gaining weight or for having another binge eating moment. Just be kind and ask yourself what you're feeling and what you need, because that will solve the issue. If you continue beating yourself up, you won't ever come to a good solution. What we want is for you to stand in that negative emotion and be able to deal with it, not be fearful of it. Just stand in the fear and welcome it, because the thing is, when we welcome fear, it suddenly isn't that fearful anymore. It suddenly kind of releases when we welcome it, when we are open to it. But it's the trying to push it away that makes us feel really rubbish. So we don't want that. If it's boredom, it can also be that you need to find a goal to be excited about. You need a higher purpose. You need to figure out what is your purpose and what can you use this time for. What can be the best possible thing that you can use this time for? What can you do to make this time useful and actually help the world, help yourself grow? And what's something that you can do, bring value into your own life or into other people's lives? A lot of the time, if our life is out of control, we use food to stay in control. The difference between emotionally eating or binge eating because you've been trying to control your food. You've been trying to eat, let's say, 1,000 calories a day, and that's just not enough calories for your body. So if you starve yourself, then at one point your body's gonna say, enough is enough, I'm gonna freaking eat some food now. And so if you're trying to control your food like that, then that might triggering some binge eating. And if that's the case for you, then I would suggest that you make sure to give your body the amount of calories it needs and spreading out the meals. Sometimes if you wait to eat till really late, then suddenly your body is just in starve mode and it wants everything. And I really enjoy eating at least 5 meals a day, and it's helped me a lot as well with binge eating, because it would be like, because if I hadn't eaten a lot in a long time, I would just have no limit for the amount of food my body would want in my body. My body would want in my body. But now that I eat 5 meals a day, I can feel when I'm full, I can feel when I'm hungry, and it just gives me more of a, just helps me out and helped me out when I was trying to solve my emotional eating. If the answer doesn't come to you right away with how you're feeling, and you can't really figure out what emotion you're feeling and what you're trying to cover up by eating food, there's a couple of things that you can do to figure that out and get those answers. A really great way is doing a guided meditation. For a lot of people, this is a really challenging thing, but if you're serious about wanting to not deal with emotional eating anymore and actually figure out what your emotions are actually trying to tell you, then guided meditations are incredible and can give you a lot of answers. I would suggest just searching on YouTube for guided meditations. There's a bunch out there. So search on YouTube, use Headspace that I've used sometimes. Anything works, just to open up and let those answers come to you. If you're not able to answer the question, how am I feeling, what emotion am I feeling, then grabbing a journal and just starting to write can help you a lot, because for me, writing one sentence leads to the next and to the next, and sometimes I solve my issues or my questions through just writing freely. There's nothing specific you have to write about, just write whatever comes to you, and maybe the emotion will come to you that way. Another thing is just looking yourself in the mirror and asking yourself, how are you feeling? And look yourself so deep in your eyes that you're talking to your 5-year-old self, and ask yourself what you're feeling and how you can make it better, and tell that little girl or that little boy that he's okay, she's okay, and that you got that person. Talking to yourself in the mirror, I feel, makes me connect to my younger child. And so if you look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself how you're doing, I'll get like really deep answers. So I definitely recommend trying that if you are in a binge moment and need some advice. Another thing can be just going for a walk, feeling nature and being outside. Sometimes answers can come to you, some help from above or from the inside can come to you that way. For a lot of people, showering helps. So if you're in the moment, you're about to eat that 4th cookie, I don't know how many we are on, 5th, 6th, cookie, take a shower. I don't use this a lot, but I know other people do. So if you're in the moment and wanting that 6th cookie, then just go take a shower. A lot of people get answers in their shower. If you're just doing this because you're bored and you feel like you have no purpose, I think you should write down your goals. And maybe you don't know what those goals are, then write down anything that comes to your mind. Nothing is too big, nothing is too small. And then at one point, maybe you find something that actually sounds really interesting. Asking yourself, what's one small action step I can do today to get just a little bit closer or get a little bit more knowledge on that thing that I really want to manifest into my life. And then you just can start taking action steps during this time. Because if you're bored, then why not use your time wisely and spend it on something that you know can benefit you or your family or someone else in the world in the future. Of course, you can use exercise, you can drink water, you can make sure not to buy those dumb things whenever you're at the grocery store. There's also a really good rule that I love and that can help you out. If you say that, let's say you eat dinner at 6, then you make a rule for yourself that after 7 you won't be eating anything else. Because doing that, it just gets you into a habit that you don't need anything after dinner. And you know, creating habits, everything becomes easier after having created a habit, and maybe that will help you a little bit with dealing with your emotional eating. But the most important thing is that you deal with the emotion that you're feeling and dig deep and figure out what that is. This is just like some basic little trips if you feel that something is triggering you and you can't figure out what it is, and you just need a small little like thing to get out of it. And then keeping a food journal can help for some people, because then you keep track, and it may be a good thing to do in the beginning while you're trying to solve binge eating. It's different for everybody, so anything that I'm saying right now might work for you, it might not. I'm just trying to come up with all the things that I've learned and think that could maybe help you get out of this. And so take what you want and don't take what you don't feel like would work for you. I hope that some of this was useful for you. If it was, please write down in the comments what you could use from this and what could help you. And if you have any questions, please let me know so that I can help you as much as possible. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, give me a like, and in the comments below let me know what helped you from this video, what was the most useful advice that you now can try next time you're dealing with emotional eating. Sending you so much love. Bye.